Good afternoon. So welcome to number 3 of our series. As you see, we've got a little more professional today. This video is actually going to be called Ownership or Bonus Plan. We officially now spent $27, got a tripod. So we are no longer an iPad leaning up against a picture frame with a cup of water holding it. So we are migrating and getting things a little bit better and being more sophisticated. So this one is about ownership and bonus, right? So one of the things that when I started this company, I said, well, how am I going to be different? Or how are Dart's delivery services going to be different than the other DSPs that I worked with in my previous career? And one of the things that have always kind of stuck to me was this idea of ownership. And how ownership is different than rental. And what it comes down to is Jeff Bezos one time in some training that I did talked about a story of one of his friends that owned a property, and he was renting out some people. The people left, and when he went back into the house, in the corner he found an old dried up Christmas tree that had been nailed to the hardwood floors. And Jeff talked about the fact of, like, for him, that really created the idea of how owners are different than renters, right? An owner understands the cost to repair the floors from the damage. They understand the depreciation on the house because the floors have been damaged. They understand those costs. They understand those different things, whereas somebody that's not theirs, they don't understand. So one of the things that I want to do is create a culture that people were kind of treated more as owners in the process rather than just delivery drivers, right? So we came up with this bonus plan, right? And the bonus plan has changed over time. Getting feedback from different people doing different things. We've changed the bonus process over the years. And quite honestly, I think the process we have in place is better now than it was when I first started off. Most of that's from feedback from drivers. So let's talk about some of the disqualifiers, right, of the bonus plan, right? The number one disqualifier by far is safety. When you look at the people that don't earn bonuses, the number one reason is because of safety. And safety is also the only thing that carries a multiple week disqualifier. Now, why? One, safety is a huge risk to the company, right? So one, outside of payroll, one of the biggest costs of the organization is insurance, workman's comp, unemployment, general liability, cargo insurance. All these different things matter into a good portion of the company's financial cost. So one of the things that we look at is trying to create a culture that's as safe as possible, all right? Because we have to submit all this data every time we go through insurance renewals. We submit our lost time injuries and look at our safety practices, how well people are operating, like how many accidents, injuries, things like that we've had, and that drive into our cost. One of the things that, like, when we talk about the scorecard that we get, we submit that to insurance companies as well, because that shows how safe of a culture we have. We have, high stop sign violations, high seatbelt violations, high speeding violations. That impacts what the outside people believe our culture is like, right? So it's like, how do we create that culture, right, to minimize those costs associated with that? So that's why the number one disqualifier for people that don't get bonuses is typically going to be safety, right? So the next big thing is going to be quality, right? So obviously we need to make sure we deliver to the customer. I mean, on the quality side, the big thing is you have to do fantastic. Seems crazy, might seem lofty if you're a new person, new to the process, new to driving. Last week we had 67 drivers, 65 were fantastic. So it's not some crazy lofty goal. The big thing is one, drive safe, because that impacts your scorecard, and then making sure you file customer notes and deliver it to the right address. Those are the big three things that you need to do to be successful. Full route. So you need to be on a full route, basically, and you need to be able to complete your full route in the amount of time you're designed to do. Which typically is a 10-hour route, right? So for us right now, our start time is 11:15. Theoretically, if you don't take your lunch or don't take your unpaid lunch, it'd be 9:15. If you clock out, take your unpaid lunch, then theoretically you should be back at 9:45 in a 10-hour day, right? But if you can't do that, like if the company, if the team has to have sweepers out there, if we have to rescue you, things like that, those are costs that we as a team, we have to burden in order to help those individuals out. They can't complete their route. So in essence, then that's a disqualifier. Like, why would the team want to help reward drivers that cannot get their routes done on time, right, in a safe and efficient manner, right? So that's another big disqualifier. I'm trying to think what else. Unexcused absence is another thing that may be questionable, right? So the big thing for us, like if you work for another DSP, one thing that kind of separates us is I try to be respectful of your time, your personal and professional time, right? So we submit VTL, voluntary time off, typically around 9 a.m. in the morning. We typically know our hard count, route count, what our plan is going to look like between 8:30 and 8:45 in the morning. So then we quickly analyze that, we make assessments, and then we send out VTO at typically around 9 o'clock. If you don't tell us before 9 o'clock, we're going to make wrong assumptions, right? Based on the people that are going to be there to run those routes. Sometimes because of that, now we have to scramble. We have to find somebody to come in and run the route, which is going to cost overtime, going to cost more money, or vice versa. We have to turn around and now we can't put out as much VTO. We have to overstaff. We have to underplan. All these different things that, guess what, cost time and money, right? So if you can't call in before 9 a.m. to let us know that that you're not going to make it into work, then I mean all that just falls on you. It's a common courtesy. It's something that as a team member that we kind of expect, and we would hope that you just do to help support the team. What else? That's pretty much about it. So one of the big things you'll notice also about this bonus plan, the rationale, like I mentioned earlier, like why I wanted it. Some of you guys probably know from maybe previously around Christmas season, one of my favorite movies is It's a Wonderful Life. And there's a scene there when the stock market's crashing. Everything is going down. And evil Mr. Potter, if you've never seen it, is in there taking opportunities, buying up everybody, buying up everything for pennies on a dollar, right? And everybody rushes to George Bailey, the main character's savings and loan department, and they all want their money back. And there's a scene where he's like, guys, don't you understand that your money in the savings and loan is turning around, that's helping Ernie's cab company. It's also lending money to your neighbors so they can buy their first house or buy houses to get out of their rental properties that evil Mr. Potter owns, right? So we're just one big happy community, kind of supporting each other, helping each other out, and that's where that's kind of the philosophy behind how I've lived my life. I try, if you know me, I try to be helpful to people as much as possible. So yeah, that's kind of the logic, the rationale behind the bonus plan. What some of the disqualifiers are, the why they're disqualifiers, because at the end of the day, it's really about being a team player. As I mentioned earlier, one of the big things we have changed over the years is, people say, hey, Jim, if I get done early, and I go help another associate, I don't think I'm getting rewarded enough. So we went back and we looked to say, okay, look, if we can reduce some costs in other ways, we can pay a package bonus. So one of the big things that we've changed over the years is that package bonus. I think we started off at some, 25 cents or something real small, and then we changed it to, I think, 80 cents, and now it's up to $1 per package. So we're always trying to evolve to those that, it's another saying, my old days, those that do get, right? Those people that are getting done, are helping, they're supporting, helping the team out, they're naturally going to get paid and make more and get more of the proceeds from the hard work of the team, right? But yeah, so that's video number 3, ownership and the bonus plans. Thank you and have a great day.